I hope you all are doing good. Today we will discuss one very important type of join which is used in SQL known as self join. So unlike other type of joins which we have discussed in previous videos where we join one table with another table, a self join is a special type of join where a table is joined with itself. And it is useful when you want to compare rows within the same table. Also, one important point that you should note here, to perform a self join, we should give the same table two different aliases and then join them using a condition. So, this particular point will be very useful when you write the SQL query to execute the self join. So, let's start. The self join is a popular special case of the SQL join. While most joins link two or more tables with each other to present their data together, a self join links a table to itself. As the name is indicating, we are joining the same table with itself. And this is usually done by joining a table to itself just once within a SQL query. But it is also possible to do so multiple times within the same query. Now coming to syntax, it is very similar to other type of join. It's just that even after from and even after on, we are mentioning the same table. However, we are giving the different aliases to it because we are considering them different, although they are same table. So if we talk about syntax, it is a syntax. Select then the name of the column you want from table 1. T1 is the alias. Join on table 1 T2 where condition. So here T1 and T2 are different table aliases for the same table. And you can use either inner join or left join or right join. You can use any of the join. However, the answer will differ depending on the question and type of table. But you can use any type of join for while using self join. So we have already seen these inner join, full join, left join and right join, and today we will be discussing about self join. And now we will see one practical example in SQL Management Studio. So I have created, as usual, I have created one table known as employee. So there are three columns: employee ID, name, and manager ID. And then we have inserted values. So there are five rows, and three columns. So these are five employees: Alice, Bob, Charlie, David, Eve. And if you execute select star from this table, this is the output. So again, as I always say, that this is a smaller table, so you should try to understand the data also, because when you go for larger data sets, it will be quite difficult to check that way. So if you see here, Alice is a employee with employee ID 1, but Alice has no manager. That means he's a top level or top line manager. Whereas has Bob manager is Alice, because you can see manager ID mentioned here, and this is employee ID. So basically, the nature of this ID is same. It's just that in this row it is corresponding to employee ID, and here it is corresponding to manager ID. Similarly, if you see for Charlie, the manager of Charlie is also Alice, because this is a manager ID mentioned here. And similarly, David and Eve have their manager as Bob. So Bob is the manager for David and Eve, whereas Alice has no manager because he is the most senior most people in the company. Or for this particular question we considering here. So let's start. First of all, I will write the query, and then one by one I will explain you that why we are writing this way. It is very similar to join, like we have already seen, left join, outer join, left right join. So it's just similar to that. It's just that we are joining same table with itself. And self join is very useful when we have to find manager ID of the employees, manager name of the employees. So basically in the output we want employee and two columns in the final output we want. First column we want employee and second column we want manager. So let's start how we can write this. Select name. Select. So first of all I will just write simply name, because I want name. From employees. So as I mentioned, we should always give alias to the table name, especially when using these self joins. Left join, so table name is same because it's self join. Then we write on keyword even dot manager manager uh, so manager id, there is no underscore, manager id equals e2 dot employee id. So this is the structure. Now this query is not yet complete because we need to mention that from which table this is coming. So this is e1 dot name, this is coming from e1, and this is coming from e2 dot. And also, since we have to find in the final output employees and corresponding manager, so this will be employee. It is the alias that I am giving, that I want in the final output as manager. So this is the query that we have written: employee id, manager id. So from here also you can see that, yeah, if I execute this, this is the final output that I am getting. And this was expected output also, I explained you. So let me explain you once again that why we have used self join and how this query is being executed. So e1 and e2 are aliases for two instances of the same table, which is employee. The first instance e1 represents employees and the second instance e2 represents manager. So they are same table, but in first instance it is representing employee and in the second instance it is representing manager. And this left join employees e2 on e1 dot manager id equal to e2 dot employee id. This is where self join is occurring, and we are joining table to itself. The condition, this condition matches an employee's manager id. Even is for employee. The condition, this particular condition I'm referring, matches an employee's manager's id to the employee id of another employee, basically their manager. I understand that it's a little bit confusing when we solve such type of problem for the first time, but once you get the basic conceptual clarity behind solving this type of problem using self join, this will look very simple. I will repeat again for your clear understanding. This particular condition matches an employee's manager id, so this is for manager id, to the employee id of another employee. So basically, the manager's ID, manager's employee ID becomes the manager's ID of the corresponding employee that we are considering here. And left join ensure that even employees without a manager, like Alice here, will be included in the result with null as their manager. So we can also use inner join here. So if I execute this, you will not find Alice in the final output. So it's better that you use left join here so that you get all the records. Now you can see Alice is also coming in the final output, although null is coming because Alice was not having any manager. He is the senior most person. So even dot name as employee, this selects the name from e1 instance, which is basically we are considering employee, and this e2 dot name as manager, this selects the manager name from the e2 instance, the manager side. So this is how we have executed this query. Again, I will reiterate for your understanding that the self join, as its name implies, it joins a table to itself And to use a self join, the table must contain a column, let's say X, that acts as the primary key, and a different column, call it Y. Here for our problem under consideration here, it's like manager ID and employee ID, and the values of column, the values of employee ID and manager's ID, they do not need to be same for any given row. And this is basically reflecting here that if they can be different, and in that scenario you will get null in the final result set. Here this join keyword connects two table, so we are using left join. These are connecting two table and is usually followed by on clause, and this is the condition that we have given. So this is how we can find the employees and the corresponding names of the manager. I hope you get little clarity about this particular problem. In case you still have any doubt with regards to how we have used the condition, you can ask in the comment section and I will try to give more clarity for this. And now we will meet you in some another video with some different concept. Also guys, in case you are finding these videos useful for you, then please share these videos with your friends, or anyone basically who is trying to understand about SQL, or willing to understand about data analytics. So thank you friends.